Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Box Office Talk. This is the show where I break down what happened at the box office, see if my predictions for the top 5 are correct, then make predictions for next week's top 5. So let's get right on into it. Last week I predicted that number 1 would be Bullet Train, number 2 would be DC League of Super Pets, number 3 would be Easter Sunday, number 4 would be Nope, and number 5 would be Thor Love and Thunder. And I got only 2 out of 5 of my predictions right for this weekend. Once again, I put too much of a bet on a movie that probably no one was going to see a whole lot of, you know what I mean? But 2 people did get the predictions right for this weekend, so it wasn't a total goose egg with the predictions this time. But still, I just really need to stop putting my faith in some of these newer original non-IP related films, because unless it's like Jordan Peele's Nope at this point, you know, it probably won't get anywhere too close to the top 5. But let's get right on into the actual numbers this weekend. Number 1 was Bullet Train, speeding right on into the number 1 spot. Considering how lackluster League of Super Pets did last weekend, it was kind of a no-brainer that this would, you know, still manage to squeak in. It made $30 million this weekend, and that is on a budget of $90 million. Worldwide, it is already at $62 million, which I think is a pretty damn good start, considering, like I've, just kind of mentioned before, this is a non-IP kind of movie. It's based off a book, but, the people that see the marketing for this, it's not like, it's not like it's a recognizable book that, most of the population would notice, and it's not like the trailers are marketing it like it's based off of the book, as far as most people know, it's just a new original action film. It just happens to have this, stellar cast of names that you might recognize, especially Brad Pitt. And sure, it didn't even get like the 40 million that Nope got on its opening weekend, but still, this is a pretty damn good start. And considering we're probably going to endure a bit more lackluster weeks in the August month, I think this movie will definitely have a chance to stick around through word of mouth. I think a lot of people, because I saw this in the theater and a lot of people were digging it, a lot of people were having fun. I believe the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes is pretty good. I think word of mouth is going to spread, and I think this movie is going to, continue to do well, which is awesome. And then you look at the fact that David Leitch, who's the director on this movie, for its opening weekend, it made $12 million over Atomic Blonde's opening weekend of like $18 million, and it's only $21 million away from outgrossing the entire domestic run of that film, and the worldwide number is sitting at $62 million. It is $36 million away from outgrossing Atomic Blonde there. So this movie, even if it might not, be doing the most gangbusters, compared to other blockbusters, it's still going to outgross one of David Leitch's other films, and that is pretty stellar in and of itself. It's probably going to, get close to 100 million domestically. Maybe it will get a little bit over that too. That's just really exciting to me. And sure, it's gonna be obviously way under what Hobbs and Shaw and Deadpool 2 did for, as far as like this man's career, but I'm just glad that, he's still able to come in there. And sure, like I said, it's based off a book, but like I said, as far as most people know, this is an original thing. He can still bring audiences in just by, word of mouth, by crafting a pretty entertaining action film with great actors doing funny bits and great action sequences. Sitting at number 2, though, we have DC League of Super Pets, dropping about like 50% from its opening weekend, making $11 million, adding to a domestic total of $45 million. On the bright side, they have just now reached like, the halfway point of getting its initial production budget back of $90 million, and worldwide it is sitting at $83 million, so it's only $7 million away from doing that. So there you go. I honestly, I have no idea what the rest of this movie's rollout is going to be. I don't know if it has any other places to be released, or if they just did and it's just not doing well. I'm sure there must be some other places worldwide that it still has yet to be released, because I can't imagine this movie not doubling its budget at least. As far as the Warner Animation Group films go, it's $14 million away from outgrossing Ninjago's entire domestic run, and $39 million away from outgrossing its entire worldwide run. So I think this movie will definitely at least do that, but you gotta do better than just outgrossing the Lego Ninjago movie, you know what I'm saying? You have Dwayne Johnson here, you got Kevin Hart, all of these, who would have thought that, getting all of these famous people in this animated film didn't turn out, because, it's not doing that great. Number 3, we have Nope, making $8 million, adding to a domestic total of $97 million. So even though the worldwide numbers are still not in yet for this movie, and I checked on IMDb, it's going to be releasing in other places worldwide just throughout the month of August. So I think finally, as these weeks go on, we will get more numbers to add to this entire run. But it is still $3 million away from getting to $100 million domestically. That's just really impressive, without a worldwide run already for an original film, non-IP. This is pretty pretty damn good. And obviously you have the benefit that, people know who Jordan Peele is, and he's garnered quite an audience and quite a reputation for himself. So obviously he's going to make money domestically, but it's still really impressive that it's doing this well. And sure, it's 78 million away from outgrossing Get Out and Us. And, I said we're about to enter some lackluster weeks of August. And even then, I don't know if it's enough to get to that point to potentially get there even close to that. This is still doing pretty damn good. Number 4, we have Thor Love and Thunder making $7.6 million, adding to a domestic total of $316 million. And despite the fact that a lot of people, will be talking up like, oh, this movie has had quite a big drop from its opening weekend to its second weekend, it's not doing that well, it just outgrossed the entire domestic run of Thor Ragnarok by $1 million. And sure, worldwide, it is not close to the numbers that Ragnarok had, but domestically, it still has that. Worldwide, it is sitting at $698 million, so it's $22 million over the run of Doctor Strange, and it needs $16 million more dollars to outgross the Winter Soldier. So, even that, with that worldwide number, maybe not even comparing to what Ragnarok's worldwide number is, it's still slowly rising up in the MCU chart, so it's really not doing all that bad. And domestically, it needs $17 million more dollars until it outgrosses the entire domestic run of Guardians of the Galaxy. So, like I even said when it first premiered, back in the beginning of July, this movie's doing just as I would expect at this point for an MCU movie, and I don't think any amount of people saying like, oh, I don't know, it might not be doing as well as some of the other ones, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, people are going to be excited for these movies, and everyone's going to be excited by these announcements, and they're going to keep coming back and back and back and back and back until the end of time. Number 5, we have Minions: The Rise of Gru making $7.1 million, adding to a domestic total of $334 million, so it is $2 million away from outgrossing the entire run of Minions. So good luck to you guys. You're gonna get there, obviously, but man, can't wait to celebrate that next weekend. Worldwide, it is sitting at $757 million, so it's $128 million away from outgrossing the worldwide run of The Secret Life of Pets. Here's to them, hoping they get there, as the numbers are starting to slow down a bit domestically, even as we are about to enter the drought that is late August. I still think there is a chance for the worldwide numbers to continue to spike as well, so we'll see how it goes if it continues to rise in the, top 5 highest grossing Illumination films of all time list. Number 6, though, still continuing on some other lists, Top Gun Maverick making $7.03 million this weekend. That adds to a domestic total of $662 million. And last weekend I talked about how it was about to outgross Titanic and become the 7th highest grossing film domestically of all time, and it just did that this weekend by $3 million. And now it needs $16 million more to outgross Avengers Infinity War and become the number 6th film, the highest grossing film of all time. And considering it's made $7 million this weekend, considering how much it has stayed since it premiered in May, and like I said, we're entering the drought of August, I think we're definitely, going to see it outgross Infinity War, which is pretty fucking cool that the Top Gun sequel is about to outgross one of the highest grossing Avengers movies of all time, a comic book movie that was considered like the most hype movie of all time. And, Top Gun Maverick, people were hyped for it, but compared to the hype levels for Infinity War, they weren't even close. But now that Top Gun is out and people have talked about it and people love it, now it has a fighting chance against these other movies that were, certified like, oh yeah, this is just going to be a hit no matter what. This has a chance, and that's excellent. Worldwide, it is sitting at $1,352 million, so it outgrossed The Last Jedi by $21 million, but it also outgrossed Black Panther by $16 million, so it is currently number 13 on the highest grossing films of all time worldwide. And it needs $43 million more to outgross Age of Ultron and become the number 12. I think it would be really exciting if this does manage to get into at least the top 10 of, worldwide all-time. So I can't wait to see that. Hopefully through these next couple of weeks we'll be able to see it slowly, even more so, get there. I'm not sure if it will outgross Ultron by then, but I think it's still going to get pretty damn close, and it'll be a safe bet that it'll get there eventually. Number 7, we have Where the Crawdads Sing, making $5.6 million, adding to a domestic total of $64 million, and worldwide it is sitting at $77 million. So last weekend I talked about how it needed to get to $72 million to triple its budget, and obviously it has. It has gotten $5 million over that, which is fantastic. At that point, it would need $96 million to quadruple that. And, considering just, this, like I said, I keep saying it, we're about to enter the drought of August, and this movie, it's been doing okay, but it has been sticking around, even if Top Gun managed to overshadow it at one point, because it only needs like 19 million more dollars to, get to that 96 million mark. So I think there might be a chance when you really do combine the domestic and the worldwide intake that it will get there, but only time will tell at this point. Number 8, my prediction for number 3, Easter Sunday. Oh boy, it made $5.2 million this weekend. There's no worldwide numbers to add to this, and it was on a budget of $17 million. Oh boy, I think this is definitely like if you want to really examine this and talk about the state of things, I think this really is kind of a downside to how comfortable a lot of audiences have become with streaming. This seems like a movie that was destined to like go to Netflix, especially with the fact that it stars a comedian in the lead role, and a lot of Netflix originals are comedy films starring famous comedians you might know, and they're movies that maybe they could have gone to the theater at one point, but today they might not do as well, but now they do well on streaming. I was surprised that this movie was actually something that was coming to theaters, but here it is. It's kind of flopping unless, next weekend it's still here and all of a sudden it's like doubled its budget already because of worldwide numbers and it's risen on the top 10 domestic chart. I don't know. I doubt it at this point, but we'll see. Number 9, we have Elvis making $4 million, adding to a domestic total of $136 million. So it is $8 million away from outgrossing The Great Gatsby. As this month starts to wind down a bit, there could be, a bit of wiggle room to actually get that $8 million, even if it did make $4 million this weekend and has been going down a bit and bit. And I feel like even with some of the newer films coming out that might not have, as much, of a drive to it to get into the top 5, I think they'll still do a little bit better than Elvis, so I think Elvis will be leaving the top 10 soon and might not get the chance to get the numbers it needs to outgross Gatsby, especially worldwide. The fact that it is now sitting at $251 million, which is fantastic. They've already doubled their $85 million budget, but it needs $102 million to outgross The Great Gatsby. So I think as far as that milestone goes, it won't do that for Baz Luhrmann, but I think he should just be, happy that a movie of his at all that isn't like a fucking, big blockbuster or an animated film, did as well as it did, even if it wasn't Bohemian Rhapsody numbers. And finally, closing out the top 10, we have The Black Phone, making $1 million, adding to a domestic total of $85 million. It didn't get to $100 million domestically, which is kind of a bit of a bummer, but I mean, shit, with a $17 million budget, it has already done so successfully, especially when you give the worldwide numbers a look, sitting at $148 million, and it officially has grossed $4 million more than The Exorcism of Emily Rose. So Scott Derrickson can mark that down on his achievement list. This movie has now outgrossed both the domestic and worldwide runs of The Exorcism of Emily Rose. It outgrossed the domestic run for Day the Earth Stood Still, but not the worldwide one for that. But that's fine. I really like the idea of a future where Scott Derrickson and C. Robert Cargill, his co-writer on this, have a chance to keep making the kind of horror films they want to make, and they turn out as excellent as this, and they have a following like this. That just really, really excites me. I'm glad they had a great successful run, and I look forward to see what they do next. Now it's time for the predictions for next week's top 5. So number 1, I'm going with Bullet Train once again. Number 2, DC League of Super Pets. Number 3, Nope. And then I know earlier in the video I said I wasn't gonna keep giving some of these movies a chance, and I am being lenient. I'm only going with one of the new releases that I think might squeak in. I think number 4 will be Fall. I don't think it's gonna be big, but I think, since marketing has started and some people have seen this in front of like Thor or some other movies akin to what Fall is, a thriller, horror, whatever, I think it might have a chance, maybe not as much as No, but a limited enough audience to squeak it in above Thor. And then number 5, I'm going to go with Thor Love and Thunder. I could be totally off. Feel free to not predict that, obviously, and just go with the same exact top 5 we have right now, but damn it, I want to do something interesting, so this is what we're going to do. So anyways, what are your guys' predictions for next week's top 5? Leave them in the comments below, and as always, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe. I'm Jackson Fulcher. See you guys next time.